My daughter, 26, is adopted. She started meeting her bio family after she had her son 3 years ago. I never went against her decision to have her bio family in her life. I've always encouraged her to give them a chance, especially her bio mom. But I noticed I was being gradually pushed to the side. Not just me but the family too. No more Sunday dinners, no more trips, no more pictures, and not even weekly phone calls like we used to have. I figured she was busy being a mom, and she confirmed that, but her Facebook page showed me otherwise. There were tons of pictures of her visiting her bio family and tons of pictures with my grandson. I realized she was making excuses to skip family time with us to be with her bio family more. Whenever her dad and I brought this up with her, she turned it into an argument in which she'd call us too sensitive or too jealous or not giving her space to get to know her bio family better. We had one big argument, and she never spoke again after she said no matter how much love and eagerness we show her, her bio family's love is greater and more natural. She stayed gone for months until her husband Thomas, who's always been struggling with heart condition, gotten worse. He is in the end stage of heart failure and is required to have an LVAD implant, but my daughter cannot afford it. Lately she's been coming over a lot to talk about Thomas's condition. We do what we can to comfort her, but she brought up the piece of land we have for my 14-year-old son's education. I refused to even have this conversation, but she kept pushing for us to sell the land and help her get the device. I said I was sorry, but that will go to her brother who sees me and her dad as his parents and isn't willing to replace us like she did, and told her to go ask her bio family for the money. She was shocked and said that she couldn't believe how conditional my love for her was and that I care more about being petty than my grandson's future with both parents, not a widowed mother. She started crying, calling us unsupportive and that this is the time we show her we're truly family instead of showing conditional love and act petty at her husband's expense. I said I'm sorry about Thomas, but that is all I had to say. She left and we haven't heard from her since then. My husband says Thomas and our grandson are innocent and maybe we should help out now then settle our conflict later, but that is a lot of money that I feel I'm not obligated to give even without the whole drama from her bio family. I'm upset, but I don't resent my daughter as she's struggling with a lot, but at this point I feel like she's only keeping us around for money, given that we paid for many things in the past while her bio family did nothing. Not the idiot. She's the one showing conditional love, and if bio family's love is greater and more natural, then why aren't they paying? I want to be really petty and say that greater and more natural love wasn't enough for them to keep her and raise her, but I know that's a low blow. At this point, I would not sell the land and give her money. She has shown that she only wants money now, so it's on her to figure it out. Most states has some form of welfare or social services to help gravely ill people, so she should explore that option. Why do I get the feeling that if you had given her the money she would continue to ignore you and your family? And if you ask her about it, she would have gone off on you for daring to think you could buy a relationship with her. Not the idiot. She chose to push you and your family, the family that raised her, to the side to be ignored until she needed something from you so that she could be with her bio family, the people who gave her up. I'm sorry OP. That's a painful place to be in. You said she literally placed her bio family's love over yours in terms of degree and authenticity. She made clear how much she values you and all the time she spent in your lives, so it shouldn't be an issue if you value a loyal son over a benefit-weighing daughter. Support her, but not at the expense of your son's education and future. There's no guarantee she will extend any kindness or support to him when the time comes if you help her over him now. I, 35, have a friend Ren, 32, who purchased her first house recently with her fiancé Jack, 36. Fake names. Ren and Jack had us over this past weekend to see their new house at a housewarming Halloween party. There were several people there, some I knew and some I didn't because they were Jack's friends. I sat outside for a bit with Ren after having been there for an hour and getting a tour of their new house. I asked Ren how it felt to officially be a homeowner, and she said it was probably their biggest accomplishment so far in their lives, and they were both so excited. She said she can't stop looking at our county auditor's website and looking up the house address to see their name on it. I never heard of this. We live in the States, so I'm not sure if this can be done in other countries, and I asked her to show me. She logged into the county auditor website on her phone and showed me the property records. I saw Ren's name but not Jack's. I asked Ren why that was. Long story short, she said that a credit score loan qualified them for a better interest rate, and since her parents gave her the $35K down payment, that she didn't want his name on it, since she and her family had the most to lose should something negative happen with their relationship or one of them passes away. Her will was rewritten to leave the house to Jack, as long as they are still married. Jack apparently agreed to this, and they plan to use this house for equity 10 years down the road, and at that time his name will be on the new house. I knew about her the down payment months ago when they started looking. But she said the house is still Jack's in her eyes, since they are getting married. A few hours later, some people have left, and we sat outside around a fire pit chatting with Jack and couple of their friends. I honestly don't remember what we were talking about, but Jack interrupted me and asked why I kept referring to the house as Ren's house and not their house. I didn't notice I was saying it, but I told him that maybe it was because the house is not his. He asked what I meant, and I mentioned the house on the auditor website only had Ren's name on it. Ren said who cares and that he contributes to the bills and upkeep and he lives there, so it's his house. I said with all due respect, it isn't legally. The other friends were quiet, but Jack laughed at me. I asked what was so funny, but all he told me after sipping his beer was to get the heck off his property. I told him it's not his property and I wasn't going anywhere. Then Ren said, get off of our property. I said Jack should be mad at Ren for showing me in the first place and left. I asked my sister about what happened. She said that his name being on the isn't relevant because when you marry you share everything you have with your partner and that I was out of line. But my dad said I wasn't technically wrong and Ren was wrong for showing me his name wasn't on the house. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. With all due respect, their finances and their arrangements are their business, not yours. They are a couple living in a house, hence it's their house. If they were renting, would you say I'm going to my friend's landlord's house to visit them? No, because, for you, it is irrelevant whose name is on the title. And this is the exact reason you don't share your personal finances with anyone except a financial manager, it causes stupid fights. What was the point you were trying to make? He contributes to the home. He had a problem with his credit in the past. It happens. When they get married, it will be joint marital property even without him being on the loan. From your point of view, Ren really didn't own the house either. Her parents did because of the gift for the down payment. It seems like you are a shallow individual that likes conflict and you got it here. And without an apology, it might have cost you your friendship. I rent but still call the house I live in mine. Because I live there. It's my home. Even on the technicality, it's Ren's hour and if she says it's Jack's house too, it's Jack's house too. After all, it's her name on the lease. You took a crap on their joy when they invited you over to celebrate it. Get in touch and apologize for being a douche. So, I, 36, was on my way home from work yesterday. I drive a RAV SUV, and the road I was on a 4-lane one, 2 one way and 2 the other, just off the interstate. I had pulled into the left lane, which after a couple miles becomes a left turn lane, and in the right lane next to me was a smaller car. I didn't think anything of it when they sped up, but then they cut across my lane and were trying to U-turn, which because of where we were at the time, was not only illegal but really dangerous, and I slammed my brakes, but unfortunately couldn't stop in time. I ended up slamming into the side of the other driver's car. As we were both stopped in the middle of the road, I got out of my car and went to check on the other driver and their passenger. They were teenagers, a boy and girl. I asked if they were okay, and thankfully no one was hurt. They got out of their car and looked at the damage on their car and mine, and I was already calling 911. Luckily there was an off-duty EMT from the local fire department behind us, so he turned the lights on in his truck and pulled up to check on us. He had seen the whole thing. The kids begged me not to get the police involved because the boy that was driving would lose his license and offered to pay me off so they could leave. I was shook and trying to stay as calm as I could. This is where I might be the idiot. When they were begging me not to call the police, I sternly told them no, and that the accident needed to be reported, and that I needed the report for my insurance company. The kids started freaking out and the girl called her father and told them a Karen was calling the cops on them. The boy was just sitting in his car and barely said a word. When the state trooper showed up, he gathered our licenses and registration and asked what happened. The EMT and I explained that the kids had cut in front of me, and I told him how they had tried to pay me off so they could go, and the kids admitted to trying to pull a U-turn because they got off on the wrong exit. The cop chewed them out for reckless driving and pulling an illegal U-turn and went to his car to run the licenses. The father of the girl shows up not long after and doesn't say a word to me, which was fine by me, but stares daggers at me while taking pictures of the front of my car. After the trooper was done, he goes over to the kids and gives them a copy of the accident report and tickets the driver, then gives me a copy of the report. Thankfully they were insured, so I can have my insurance company deal with that. The damage to my car wasn't as bad as theirs, it was drivable, but it still busted up the front right side enough to need repair. Plus, as I was getting closer to home, I started smelling something burning, so I had to stop and have it towed to the dealership's repair garage. My car isn't even 6 months old. The correct thing to do in situations like that is to call 911. You need the cops to issue a citation that you can use to prove the fault is not yours, so their insurance pays. This is especially important in situations where it looks like you drove into them. Thank goodness the off-duty EMT witnessed what happened. Not the idiot. First of all, the EMT may well have called the police if you had not. Secondly, without a police report you would have had no recourse if they didn't pay you the money. Your own insurer would then have asked a lot of questions. They are young and did something foolish, and this will be learning experience for them. I was similarly stupid 5 days after getting my license, and I never did something like that again. You are never in the wrong to call the police after an accident. It never ends well when they say they will just pay and no need to involve the police. That is just super shady, because without there being a police report they can turn it around to it being your fault and refusing to pay, then it has to go to court and you need to get insurance and lawyers involved. They can also accuse you of leaving the scene of an accident. So, whenever someone offers to just pay for the damages, then you double down and call the police. My mom has always been very controlling over me. When she thinks something, wants something, etc., she tries her best to get her way. Few months ago I started feeling incredibly moody and angry for no reason, and my mom thinks it's because of my birth control. Not because I just started working for 40 hours a week and my relationship was tough at the time. No, it was definitely my birth control causing my stress, anger and mood change. When we had fights she would constantly tell me to quit birth control. When something happened at work that made me moody, she would tell me to quit birth control. I eventually told her I'd consider it, but she just forced me to quit. She would constantly ask me when the last day was to take my pill. I told her I quit and a few months went by and of course she says I'm much less moody, more myself, and that she is glad I quit. But I never quit. I lied to her. Wanted to see if it was really my birth control. Work is still stressful, but I feel more comfortable there and my boyfriend and I are great again. Yesterday she again told me how much I changed, how happy and relaxed I am, and that she is still glad how I quit birth control. So I told her I never quit. How it was other things causing my anger, etc. She was furious with me. She demanded why I would lie to her for so long, and she feels betrayed. I told her I don't owe her anything. If I want to take birth control or not, it's not up to her, and that I felt she interfered too much with me in birth control. She still thinks it's not fair I lied to her about it. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot, there are lots of things that can cause stress, and it sounds like your mom is a major contributor. You knew it wasn't the birth control pills, but your mom refused to listen. You're an adult and have the right to make your own choices when it comes to your body. I hope this new job helps you to get your own place and get some distance from your mom. Wishing you all the best. Not the idiot. Your mom is crossing a line. Your medical info is privileged information. She's also not a licensed physician. My mom works in healthcare and can access my medical documents at any time. I did this because my mom can be trustworthy, and since I've had medical problems before, it would just be easier for me if she is able to see my files and help advocate for myself. Not the idiot. I know how you feel completely. I had a bad depressive episode a few years ago, and my grandparents blamed my HRT and even tried to get the doctor at the ER to tell me that I needed to quit taking tea, which really freaking infuriated me considering it was the way they treated me that exasperated things, and not my medicine. It's your body, what you do with it is your business, as long as you're not doing harm any to yourself. If she doesn't think it's fair you lied to her, then she needs to be told that it isn't fair of her to constantly push you to do things you don't want to do, just because she thinks it's for the best. Background. Me and my housemate moved in together a few years ago. We were friends for a long time beforehand, and despite the usual housemate quibbles, we've gotten along great as housemates. We both work, contribute 50-50 to bills and chores. Then, she got a dog. We agreed that she was fine to get a dog, so long as she understood that it was her dog and I wouldn't be taking on any of the caring tasks for the dog. I work a very demanding job, and I simply don't have the time for a pet. She was fine with this, so got the dog. In the time she's had the dog, she's had a good number of trips away where she hasn't been able to take the dog. I've agreed each time that I'll take care of the dog while she's away, since I understand that you can't always bring an animal along with you. She's had a habit of extending her trips away last minute, as in, the day she's due to come back, leaving me stuck with the dog. It's annoying, and I've brought it up to her many times, but it keeps happening. Current situation. She was going away again and needed me to look after the dog. I agreed but told her multiple times that I had a family holiday planned and she would need to be back on the agreed day. So, it's the day she's due back. Once again, I get a message telling me that she's going to be back a few days later than planned. I messaged her back to tell her that I was going away the next day and she needs to be home because there will be no one to take care of the dog. She doesn't reply. I message her again, still no reply. I wasn't about to cancel my long-planned holiday for the sake of her poor planning, but I also wasn't okay with just leaving the dog on his own. So, I contacted the local kennel. It was a very nice doggy hotel, and I was sure to research to make sure it was a good and reputable place. I explained my situation and booked the dog in. I message her once I've dropped the dog off and tell her where to pick the dog up, how long he was booked in for, and that she needs to pay for the keep when she arrives. Then I rush to get to the station in time for my train to my holiday. Suddenly, she's able to message me back. She sends me a long ranting message about how she can't afford that, how I've been irresponsible handing off her dog to random people, and that it wasn't my place to do that. I messaged her back saying that I had no choice, tried to message her about it, and she needs to deal with it. I've spoken to my family about it. There's a divide on whether or not what I did was right. I'm really not sure if I did the right thing. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I mean, that's 100% what I would have done in your situation. If the roommate would have preferred you do something else that wasn't stay home and miss your vacation, then she could have texted you. Even something as small as, I am texting around to my friends to try to find someone who will take him, give me 2 hours, or something. But she didn't, so your solution was totally appropriate. You communicated multiple times, including before this trip, that what she was doing was not okay. When she pulled the same stunt, you again told her it was not okay and you needed to leave. When she refused to answer, you made sure the dog was in a safe situation and would be well taken care of until pickup. Sounds all reasonable to me. If she really can't afford it, then she shouldn't be taking all these trips to begin with, since money is apparently tight. My whole job is dealing with pet owners every day, and most of them aren't very good at it. A lot of them treat their pets like moving furniture, at best. It's unfortunate that she's not more concerned with the dog and being home for it. However, you found a safe place to leave her dog, not leaving it at the shelter or anything, but a reputable kennel, when she had failed her responsibilities to her own pet. You did well.